Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome back to Jedi Mike 7 Movie News YouTube channel. I am your host, Jedi Mike 7, with my boy Jay King, and we are here to review the new series from Prime Video, which is going to be premiering on August 1st, which is DC's Batman the Cape Crusader. Now, this is all 10 episodes. Will be dropping on August 1st. But we're gonna give our non-spoiler review of the series and everything, so you guys have a chance to go see it. And we're gonna be just giving our non-spoiler reviews and our first impressions, overall thoughts and stuff, so we can give you guys the best review as possible. Jay King, what was your thoughts on Batman Cape Crusader? Just overall, just initial thoughts.
Yeah, so just initially, when the series was announced and we started seeing the type of art style that they were going for, the type of direction that they were going for, before we even got that first trailer, I was like, this feels very much like a homage to not only the origins of Batman, but also Batman the Animated Series, which makes sense because this series, much like the animated series, is being helmed by Bruce Timm, who was the man behind Batman the Animated Series, as well as Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. A lot of the 90s DC cartoons, 90s, early 2000s DC cartoons that we all love and that we all still remember to this day. And yeah, I was pretty much correct. This very much has that feeling of the old 90s cartoon for the Batman, while also having that mergence of his origins and the original versions of a lot of characters. Again, outside of Miss Quinzel, everyone pretty much is how you would see them if you were to go and find those original comics where certain characters show up. Like Alfred, for example, modeled exactly like how he is originally. Or Catwoman, one of her most iconic early costumes. Batman's costume even is very much a homage to that original Detective Comics issue #1 outfit. It's and again, even the setting of it is like what back during that time, like what the 30s, I think, or the 40s, like it's very much feels like a period piece, but still very much Batman. And I appreciate everything that we've seen so far that they have done to keep it within that realm without going too far.
Yeah, because this show now to go to your point, talking about Bruce Timm, definitely given that style, definitely was a style that I grew up with. And so with animation, like I know some people have their own preferences on the animation when it comes to DC, but like for me, this takes me right back to like the original series that I grew up with, like with Justice League Unlimited, the Batman series, Superman anime series, Static Shock, Batman Beyond, all the stuff like that, right? But again, this is going back to more like noir type of approach to it, and given time taking place in the 40s. Now, that being said, there are definitely changes that happen with this show that people might have issue with, whatever. Obviously, the big one was when people found out about the Harley Quinn, that yes, it's Harley, but it's a different type of Harley Quinn, because this Harley Quinn is actually, I think, Southeast Asian. But uh yeah, it's taking different like career approaches to it, but and we thought, okay, well, it's whatever, this is a different type of
Mm-hmm.
interpretation of Harley, that's whatever. But that's not all what you get. And we're not to spoil anything, but you get a lot of different iterations of characters. And I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute, is this a joke? And it's
yeah.
like, no.
Let's just say without spoiler, episode 1, the villain for episode 1, iconic Batman villain. It's gonna be a little different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, this is what we doing now? Okay. Can't
Mm-hmm.
wait to see
Oh,
Twitter.
and and also should we mention race wise with Barbara and Gordon?
Yeah, like this was another thing that I was really worried about, because one thing with Bruce Timm,
Oh yeah.
obviously, since Batman the Killing Joke, iteration of the animated film, a lot of controversy with that, obviously with Barbara Gordon and everything, but you do get to see her in this along with Jim Gordon. Again, different iterations and stuff, and everything, but we're really starting with the early years of Bruce Wayne's Batman. And going back to, again, the original animated series for Batman, that going to that more Detective Comics out and going against not only just a crime boss but mysteries and more classic villains. And again, like we don't. And I'm not talking about like big heavy hitters. I'm talking about just more iconic ones in terms of animation that we haven't seen before. But like some of y'all probably, not to give anything away, but yeah, you guys, you will see, people like Sly and Kyle, but more in their classic iterations and stuff, who they were, and how they were in the original comics in DC. And I thought that approach to that was really good. Again, the best part for me of this series, again, I do like this iteration of Bruce Wayne, what they're trying to do his early years. Obviously, the big one was the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that I want to ask you, J.K., how did you feel about the voice of this Bruce Wayne? I believe he voiced Batman before. I believe was the cast is what was it? Hamish Linkhart, Hamish Linklater. He
Mm-hmm.
voiced Batman for 10 episodes. But even then, aside from him, we also have Christina Ricci as Catwoman. We also get other voice actors from, if you are really into the lore of DC animation, some of the voices sound familiar to you. It's there for a reason. Yeah,
Mm.
but I just want to ask you, JK, what was your thoughts on just the voice of this version of Bruce Wayne Batman?
Yeah, so that actually is what I wanted to talk about next. Is just not just for Bruce and Batman, but also just the entire voice cast. So again, of course, we can't have Kevin Conroy here, but I think Hamish is doing a fantastic job, especially with the distinctions that it comes to Bruce and Batman. Like you could, like it's the same character, it's the same voice, but you could just tell with the way that he's going about each character. I think he's doing a great job with that. Same thing with Christina Ricci. Surprisingly, from Casper as Catwoman, I could definitely like she kills it as Selena. Jamie Chung as Harley. And again, like as I said before, this is a different Harley where it's like more talkative as Miss Quinzel, but will be a lot different as Harley Quinn when you get to that. We got Diedrich Bader as Harvey Dent, which again a lot of Batman animation fans will recognize him as voicing Batman in a certain other show from like the 2010s. You also got Bumper Robertson, who plays Lucius, but was previously Deadshot in Suicide Squad Kills Justice League.
Right. So that's just a
Uh-huh.
taste of what the few of, and also I more iconic voice actors, who've been in not only in the realm of TV and film or animation, whatever, but also in video games. You will see if you look up IMDb, you'll see. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like we got freaking Josh Walken from The Crown as Alfred.
yes. Yeah. But I also want to go into more of the villains that, are we see in the show. That again, not to give anything away, but just some of the feuds that we have seen and everything is that for me personally, I like I do appreciate them taking more creative approaches to certain characters. That being said, there are some ones that are just straight, just textbook, going back to, again, not only just terms of comics, but again, to Bruce Timm, for a lot of people, their base show for Batman is the animated series. And one of the most iconic, few iconic episodes of Batman series, you get, villains like Clayface, you get villains like Firefly and other things like that, right? But not relying on the big heavy hitters like we know, like Joker and everything. But like this is where we get to early stages of Bruce Wayne. But the storytelling, again, still going back into that type of 40s, mob boss, like Sopranos type of feel to it, and dirty cops, being paid off and everything like that. But going back
Mm.
to the traditional elements of it, and I do appreciate that this show was trying to do that. Again, I think that's been kind of lost like recently, but it's always just a kind of good reminder to go back to his roots and everything. But yeah, what was just your thoughts on the villains though?
Villains, I thought again because we've only seen up for us, we've only seen up to episode 4 so far. But the villains that we've gotten so far have been pretty faithful to what we've dealt. Can I say any names, or should I just not?
I just leave it. I mean, I already said a few,
Yeah,
but just not go
yeah,
into
but
detail. Yeah.
yeah, but again, just the villains we got not only pay homage to how they were originally, outside of some changes, but Episode 1. Just say it, episode 1. But again, outside of that, like they pretty much remain faithful to the characters that they are. There's not any huge like personality wise changes that are
Right.
made. These are very much still the characters that you know from other adaptations of animation or from the comics or other video games. These are like against, for instance, Firefly or you know or the certain masked guy right there, which I won't say just in case, but episode 2. But yeah, again, they remain faithful. These are pretty much the characters that I know they are to be: villains, heroes, police, people, and otherwise. I don't see any problem with any of them really.
Yeah, and I think lastly, I know we can before we end off things. I will say, not saying we were really a negative, but kind of more like interesting to process and then let's take a step back is how they dive into the back trauma of Bruce Wayne. Because again, we is almost beating a dead horse at this point. We've seen the same origin, we've seen the same, Batman solo, dealing with the loss of his parents and everything. But with a certain character in this series that you get to see him unravel in a way that he's still, again, Bruce Wayne is the mask. Batman's who he is, right? And seeing how he's playing off in his early years, but we're seeing also glimpses and flashes of the origin that we all know. But even then, actually doing certain things that are like different that I really haven't seen before from Batman's origin. And I'm not saying they do any major changes, it's just more like character moments is like, wait, what? But you think, imagine a kid who uh loses his parents at an early age and everything, and then that vengeance and him trying to get back into uh the harness that pain, but then
You
how
you are
twisted.
you are you are tiptoeing over that moment.
Oh yeah, I
So
really am, because I want people to experience before I get to it. But like how twisted it kind of get into a child. Because think about, I hate the whole crazy element of Batman thinking like, hey, this guy weird, like what? But hey, that didn't start when he was adult. It starts when he's like at a young age and everything, and how that word that it came from. But yeah, I do appreciate that they were trying to do that in a way that it was a different style that was new. But again, it's like I was like, wait, this is weird.
yeah,
But yeah, but go ahead.
we were both taken aback. We were like, the fuck?
Yeah. So, but and again, and I don't know how you guys going to react to it and all that stuff like that. But again, you guys be the judge of that. We're just here, giving our opinion and stuff. But aside from that, I'll just say, Jake, you have any final thoughts on people before they get to go see the show?
I will just say, like, this is definitely, like, if people are wondering if this is definitely worth their time checking out, I will say so far, animation wise, voice cast wise, storylines that we've gotten so far, this is definitely for the Batman fans. This is definitely for the fans of the Dark Knight and his world and of his early years, and people who want to experience his early years. I think you definitely will get something out of this series, not just for different takes and early version takes of certain characters, but just for how it's different, but it's still very much Batman. It feels like if they wanted to go in a different direction with the original animated series. And despite no Kevin Conroy, I say that the voice cast and the animation and the fight scenes and everything, so far, what I've seen so far from the show is definitely worth the while.
Mhm. Yeah, I would. Again, I'll agree with that too. I mean, again, if you're just a regular DC animation fan and also a Batman fan, I think this is something you want to see. Now, in terms of certain changes to certain characters and things like that, and how people going to interact, which I already know some people are not going to like it. But I think, again, if you invite yourself to receive this show and try to see what they're trying to give you, I think you might be in for a good time and everything. But yeah, I will say give this show what we saw thumbs up. Please go see the Batman Cape Crusader on Prime Video, which is premiering all ten episodes on Prime Video. All right, guys. Again, this is. Oh wait, let me get my. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I gotta get I have my whole camera stand up here. Sorry, my bad. Do I have it? Yeah, I have it. Yeah, guys. We'll see you guys in the next video and everything. Make sure you hit the notification bell on your way out. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.